So we get to pick what we're going to do. Okay, so Yvonne, do you want to
Yes, ma'am.
pick? All right, clarify a Bible verse for the audience. Okay. Oh, that's what I have it here. Okay, so let me. Is there a Bible verse that you guys want to know about that maybe you want me to read and clarify? Revelations 11:11. Okay. But after the 3.5 days, a breath of life from God entered them, and they stood on their feet, and terror struck those who saw them. Then they heard a loud voice from heaven saying to them, "Come up here," and they went up to heaven in a cloud while their enemies looked on. Let's find out what the beginning of the story is. Each other gifts because those two prophets who had tormented those who lived on the earth. Okay, so basically we're setting the stage for the two witnesses. Because basically the two witnesses were sent by God. To my two witnesses, and they will prophesy for 60 days clothed in sackcloth. Okay, the two witnesses haven't shown. They prophesied, but I don't believe anybody believed them or believed what they were prophesying. I think that they're going to be looked upon as, see, that's the problem that we're having nowadays, and Maria's kind of bringing this up. We have way too many psychic mediums going on social media. They see all they see is quick money. That's all they see. They don't care about getting a message, if the message is proper, if the message is right. There's just tons of them everywhere. Everywhere you look, there's one. Okay, they don't want to work. They want to sit at home, make easy money, because they know that some easy target is just going to listen to everything they say. And this is where we have the problem. When these two men come, they're just going to be another psychic medium. That's it. They're just going to be looked at as it's just another psychic medium. Until they do something great and miraculous, and then suddenly people start paying attention. Okay? So that is what they're talking about here. Because right before this happens, it's basically like, it's too late. You guys should have listened to these two men. It's done. They're being taken back to heaven. Okay? So when you do come across a psychic medium, you most definitely need to do your research, because they could be cold reading. They could be having the book down here where you can't see it. You have to pick up and be more spiritually aware of who you're taking advice from, because these people could really screw up your lives. Okay, Ezekiel 9. Thank you, Jessica. Okay. Idlers he killed. Then I heard him call out in a loud voice, "Bring the guards of the city here, each with a weapon in his hand." And I saw 6 men coming from the direction of the upper gate, which faces north, each with a deadly weapon in his hand. With them was a man clothed in linen who had writing kit at his side. They came in and stood beside the bronze altar. Dan read from Ezekiel chapter 9 about cherubs before he passed away. Okay. Let's see where the cherubs are. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything with cherubs, honey. Okay, it's in chapter 10, the cherubs. Now the cherub were standing on the south side of the temple when the man went in, and a cloud filled the inner court. Then the glory of the Lord rose from above the cherub and moved to the threshold of the temple. Then the glory of the Lord rose from above the cherub and moved to the threshold of the temple. The cloud filled the temple, and the court was full of the radiance of the glory of the Lord. The sound of the wings of the cherub could be heard as far away as the outer court, like the voice of God Almighty when he speaks. And the Lord commanded the man in linen, take fire from among the wheels, from among the cherub. The man went in and stood beside a wheel. Then one of the cherub reached out his hand to the fire that was among them. He took up some of it. The man in linen, who took it and went out. Under the wings of the cherub could be seen what looked like the hands of a man. What this verse or chapter is basically encompassing is the power of God's judgment upon the people. Cherubs are, they technically in human society represent love and peace. They're the ones that you see before you would see an archangel, unless you're being protected in some way. Like, say you're in a car accident, a cherub's not going to come, and archangel's going to come. This particular temple, from what I'm understanding from this verse, is that it needed the glory of God to be seen, and not heard, but seen. And they, shone the glory of God through these cherubs, and they came in the sense where they were being miraculously, like the last verses I described, where it's this miraculous understanding and knowing that God is among you. Be careful how you're doing your dealings, because eventually you're going to be judged, but not so much judged by God, but judged by yourself, because if he made you in his image, you're going to be judging yourself just as he would judge you. But yeah, that verse has to do with God's judgment and you judging yourself in a sense. But the cherubs are the key symbol to this, and the key symbol is love. That he will always show himself and love you before he judges you. So you have to, he's putting out a warning. I love you, but watch your actions. Okay. I have so many notes. Oh my God. Look at all my notes. It's just those 2 pages.
Oh my God.
Rachel, is there a verse in Exodus 20 that you want to go over? Or are you just saying Exodus 20 in general? Exodus 20 has to do with the 10 Commandments. So I'm going to be honest with you guys. The 10 Commandments were more of a guideline for humans to be better humans. Like, for example, I was talking to Maria about where it talks about don't take God's name in vain. I think a lot of people believe this to be saying, what is it? Gee, damn it. Okay. It's not, because I'm going to put it this way. Gee, damn it wasn't used back in this time. So why would they come up with that concept? No, the concept was you don't use God's name in vain by using his name to gain money for him. Okay, so churches are nonprofits, so that's different. I'm talking about these evangelicalists out there that claim to be speaking for God, but then they go and have millions of dollars worth of stuff at their houses. They've got Bentley. They've got $20,000 rings. They've got, I don't know, furniture that's millions of dollars. This is what they're talking about. Using God's name in vain, meaning using his name to gain in vain. Do you see what I'm saying? To use his name to gain amazing things.
Anything.
Right. So this is what they meant. They didn't mean, oh, some swear word. Because back then they didn't even know what swear words were. So it wouldn't have been used in that sense. Using God for profit, exactly it. Now, there's people like me out there that heal and give messages, but we can't do any other job. If our whole existence is this, we're not profiting from God, because I don't have millions of dollars. I don't have a Bentley. I don't have a BMW. I don't have millions of, I mean, if you came to my house, you would probably be shocked, because I don't spend thousands of dollars on stuff. Okay. I get by and I'm comfortable with getting by. Okay. So That's a huge difference. But if you see somebody that's using his name and they've got millions of dollars, yes, their guides are, you know, making them comfortable, but there's a fine line by overdoing it in a sense, okay? Might be why I kept turning down TV shows. Just, I don't know. It never felt comfortable to me. Unless I'm teaching like about galactic stuff, but I don't know. I felt very uneasy about doing a TV show on my gifts. I can't explain it. It never worked out.
No, it didn't.
It just never worked out.
One of them did.
I kept turning everything down. Okay. Yvonne's so pretty. You guys should see how pretty she is. Oh, Yvonne, this is the one you wanted to do.
I picked it.
She picked it. It's the one she wanted to do. It's the one she wants to do every time we go live. Communicate with an alien race. Earth resonates in the 3rd dimension, moving into the 4th and now into the 5th. And we are far removed from the 6th for right now, okay? So, as a result of where we are, the Arcturians don't usually like to become a human or take on a physical form, okay? So they don't normally incarnate here unless they have to. Now, the funny thing is, with the Akashics the Akashic sessions I do, I'm seeing more and more of them in my readings, which is kind of making me think they are definitely here for spiritual reasons, for the awakening. We're going to discuss in that Lionsgate event on the 8th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to discuss the spiritual awareness within these different realms and these dimensions, and why you act the way you do, or why certain people act the way they do around you, okay? And why so many are coming here. The systems have to break down in order to rebuild. I mean, it's going to come to the point where money is not going to exist. It's going to be people getting provided housing, food, anything they want in order for them to work and do a service. So let's say, for example, you're a cook and your friend's an engineer. Both of you would get the same kind of lodging and housing just for doing the work or the trait that you take on. So from birth, the council or elders of this world, because it won't be a politic realm of presidency or politics in the sense, it'll be more of a council. They will figure out your gifts and your traits, and then you specialize in those gifts and traits. It won't be schools like we have now, where it's math, science, blah, blah, blah. Because, you know, not every child understands math, nor are they going to ever use it. Yeah, they get the basics of adding, subtracting, but the whole point of the whole thing is to hone in on that gift. This is the, how do I look at this? The beginning stages of breaking down these hierarchy systems so that humans can live harmoniously and better from where they're at, okay? So a cook makes less than an engineer, obviously, yes. And an engineer does a lot more. But the council sees everyone as equal. So they're going to put them in the same lodging. Yeah, they might have, you know, different furniture, furniture that they're attracted to. Not everybody's style is going to be the same either. So you get to pick and choose how you want your houses. But what's going to happen is a lot of people are not going to get hung up on material items either. But everybody has a gift. Everybody came here with something to learn from. You didn't just come here unequipped. You just haven't most likely figured out what that gift is. And based off the job you're doing, you're in the right direction of figuring it out, okay? So if it's like, if you're in realty, You probably like interior design, outerior design. You might like selling stuff. You like making people happy. So maybe your job isn't really realtor, but more along the lines of something else. But you're in the first steps of figuring it out. Michelle, I'm hoping that humanity will progress, but I don't think it'll be in this time. No, I think the children of the children now will start to see that benefit. You will find yourself here and now to help break the systems down. That's why you're here. You're helping to break down the systems, because eventually it's going to come to a halt where everybody's like, enough. We are so fed up with what you've been doing to this earth, what you've been doing to us, because the whole thing about quantum identity is not identifying with race, color, religion, politics. That doesn't define you. Your soul defines you, and what your soul is doing defines you. It's the same thing, janitor, childcare provider, because you're providing a gift and service, just like an engineer, just like a teacher. Everybody's on the same playing field. It doesn't matter if you're a cook. There won't be social classes, let's put it that way. The council is at this realm of theory that I'll talk about on the 8th. No one is above anybody else. They don't see social status. They don't see social hierarchies. What they see is, you're a janitor, you do really good cleaning, we need you, because who else is going to pick up our poop or our throw up? And honestly, your job's probably more hard than an engineer, because all he does is sit back and twinkle stuff, okay? Like, it's do you see what I'm saying? But when in our mind frame right now, we think as janitors as well. That's how people look at them. But in this realm, they're looked at just as highly as an engineer, because they have to do the grunt work, and we need to honor and bless that, because not everyone can handle that. And it will come to that, Michelle. There won't be any money involved in any of this. It will be, okay, you need this amount of food for your family. We're going to provide the essentials for that month for you, or for that week. And honestly, I've seen grocery stores, just you going up and picking what you want, and you had your list and what you needed, okay? But it's limited, because you don't want to run out of food. Because if it was just fair game, we'd have people that riot now, just going and getting whatever they want and not giving two shits about their neighbor who could be starving, because they're being too selfish and not noticing. It'll be the type of system where they will have a limit, because everybody deserves food and everybody deserves a chance to provide for their family in that sense, okay? Bridget, I find you to be in the 4th dimension still, because you're taking on a victim mentality, and you won't get to the 5th dimension until you understand. And it's so funny, Marie was in the car talking about this on the way here, because I did this for a long time. I did the whole victim mentality thing for a while. And it's not until you understand that it's not about being a victim, because I was a victim of someone, but you're placing a topic or an identity onto yourself as a victim. That's 4th dimension. You don't want to stick yourself into a topic or identity like that, because those are experiences that you learned from. It's not you being a victim. You're not a victim. You just had an experience that maybe you just didn't agree with, and that's okay. This is where you get to change it up and do something different. Okay, so the Arcturians are very tall. They are tan and gray in color. I would actually say the color of your house is the color that they are. Just a teensy bit lighter. So I will show you guys Yvonne's tile. That's the color right there. It's kind of like a gray tan color that they are. And they're very tall. They have 4 fingers. We have 5. I mean, there's really no need for so many fingers. I still think we have a lot of fingers because we like to show off our jewelry. I could be totally wrong on that, but whatever. But I guess in this realm you need 5 because you do a lot more stuff here, like hauling dirt and I don't know, picking flowers and multitasking, planting things. I don't know. So, also on top of that, we are also using hands to write with, and these beings don't use fingers for writing, and they kind of have like a suction cup to their fingers. They can be contracted and not contracted. Okay, feelings and emotions are more of a human tactic, and because beings are more, I'm going to tell you guys, you only contain about, I want to say between 10 and 20% knowledge of the universe. And when you get to like 30, 40, 50 and up, your personality is very one-dimensional, sort of. Emotion doesn't really come out because all these races don't let their emotions run how they do things. Whereas here, we allow emotions to control a lot of what we do. We don't use a lot of this and a lot of mind understanding, okay? We don't use a lot of the mind to correspond with other people, whereas you should be connecting to your guides through your mind more than you do now. As for marriages and relations, obviously yes, you can have relationships in that sense, but I didn't see a lot of marriage, because marriage has always been a way of owning someone or owning their property. And it was always a way of gaining someone's dowry. And that eventually, and we're already seeing it now. A lot of people don't get married. I mean, me and Justin aren't married. Yeah, it'd be nice to get asked. but we don't see it as super important. Because, you're still living and enjoying one another. So why do you need a piece of paper to... what is that? That's not going to affect anything. It's not going to change anything. I think it's more of an ownership where, oh, now I own you, so you can't do this, this, and this. But then, honestly, you're kind of keeping that person from learning. If that person cheats, then did you really have them in the first place at all? And yes, Casey, you would be absolutely right. Earth is the Harvard of all the realms. It is the most difficult, the most low vibrational. Now there is other type Earths or realms that struggle with low vibration, like this one. You have to figure there's a 13 dimension, there's a 12th dimension, there's a 10th dimension. The 13th dimension is basically you merging with a star. You're just energy merging with a star. Or you are merging with another planet and you're just a speck of energy. Energy understanding from other mass energy is basically what these higher realms are. They don't have bodies. Now, like the 8th, 9th, 10th realms, they're more crystalline, energized. They have outline bodies, but they don't have physical features where you can pick up on them. Kind of like, us, we can see our eyes, we could see our eyelashes. They don't really have all that. They struggle in their own ways. Some realms could be struggling, like we are struggling right now with race and politics, whereas they could be struggling with, I don't know, let's say their produce dies quickly and they don't get enough sun. Maybe the sun's being covered by too many clouds. Like every realm is dealing with some sort of lesson. And how you learn from that lesson is what gets you to the next level of understanding, to get you to a different realm of learning. So, like I said, Earth is the Harvard of all the realms. There is multitude of alien races and planets all around Earth. But because of the dimension you're in, you aren't seeing them. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, have you guys been paying attention to the red dot that they all thought was a star? Do you remember me telling you about that? I said that's a new planet. I said it 3 years ago, maybe. It started appearing about 3 years ago. I said, oh, we're finally getting a planet in the solar system. So that means Earth is raising its vibration to be able to see it. Because when you raise your vibration enough, like the vibration I'm at where I can see your loved ones, do you see the vibration? It's all key to this. It's musical. It's a vibrational frequency, and the higher you go, the more you see. But if you're in the lower vibrations, you're not going to see all this stuff. So the red dot in the sky, and I think it was just maybe this past year that they acknowledged it was a planet. And now all of a sudden they found another solar system with all these planets. So, like I said, the things you're seeing on Star Trek and Star Wars is actually going on. It's more Star Trek than Star Wars, but you see these, Star Trek go into this realm and they're bartering and buying stuff and trading. There is these places. Like, if you want to get a glimpse into the reality of what's surrounding you, start watching Star Trek. You will get a very good sense of what's going on. Okay, let me do this. Isn't there a printer that can create 3D images? Like, let's say, for example, I took a picture of this from all angles and I put it into there's a 3D printer now that will create what you want. You guys, this is the first stages to a replicator on Star Trek, where the replicator, you go up to the replicator and say, I want beef stroganoff. And it creates it with a freshly brand new bowl and a fork, and there's your stroganoff. No cooking, no nothing. Your replicator makes everything. Say you went and got fresh flowers from the market and you don't have a vase. You go up to the replicator and say, I want a blue vase with white dots and green trimming. It will create it for you. That's the 3D printer. I don't know who came up with the 3D printer. Maybe you could look it up, but it's an actual 3D printer. It makes a white replica of what you want. I think it's white. I don't know if you can make colors out of it yet, but this is the beginning stages of a galactic replicator that Earth puts into their space systems, their spaceships, and in their homes. So nobody has to cook anymore. Everything's in the replicator. And then if there's something that goes wrong with the replicator, it will spit out like brown goo. So then they know to change I think it's these bags of blue that makes the replicator do this. I don't know exactly Chuck Hall, who came up with the 3D printing. So he is the inventor and the first particle energy that brings forth replicators that you see on Star Trek. No, cremation, burial, it doesn't matter, because once you leave the body, that's it. You have no ties to your body. And actually, when you pop out of your body, you don't actually recognize your body. It takes you a couple seconds to in our time, a couple seconds to a couple minutes. It's automatic. When you pop out of your body, you look at your body and then it dawns on you, oh, that was my body. There's no other attachment to it other than that. You're not going to gain this insight other than right here, because I don't have the veil attached to me. I'm what's considered a walk-in. I came right from my realm because I was asked to come here to help you guys. I've had many lives here, more in the sense of rulership, in a sense. So I was able to make more changes, like Queen Anne Boleyn. I was her. I was able to change the face of religion in England. I'm doing that now, again, with the Bible. I was Mary Magdalene, so I helped change the effect that men had on this world, and it was supposed to stick, but again, the men of the church changed that aspect once again because they feel they can control everything. And because women were supposed to be in the church, and women were supposed to be in leadership and teaching and helping children and other women. Women were not to be put into submissive roles where they had to bow to the men. Me and Jesus were of equal stature. We both taught. He treated me with respect, and how Jesus treated me is how every man needs to treat every other woman on this earth, period. Other races do have internal organs in their way of eating and digesting. Not too many of them poop. I think that's more strictly for like the human realms. Their digestive system kind of just recycles itself and uses itself within its own self, if you kind of get what I'm saying. Like what do you want to call that? Not a greenhouse, but you know, those little houses, they can live off itself. It doesn't need anything from the outside. Yes, Casey, that's correct. I've taught that on many levels, that, you know, your soul does not sleep while your body is in sleep mode, because it has too much to do. It's not waiting around for your body to wake up. There are millions, Dawn, many different human type realms. Sometimes you might find yourself jumping into them and popping back out. This is where daydreaming comes from. This world isn't supposed to end in the sense that you're thinking. It's supposed to end in the sense that religion and politics is enough already. It's controlled too many souls learning and how they learned. And you guys should have progressed so drastically. You've been held back here. That's why you keep coming back here and repeating and repeating and repeating. Whereas we're saying enough already. It's time to progress and get to where everybody else is at. Because once you guys start raising that vibration and getting to that point, you're going to start seeing things in the sky that weren't there before. This is your key jump to understanding we're getting closer. We're getting closer. It's almost like Earth is moving, but you're not seeing things flying by. Like the whole solar system is getting closer to all this other stuff out here that's been going on. It's getting there. But see, Earth was placed all the way out here because these realms wanted nothing to do with Earth. Why? Because it was still killing its own people. It was doing things that just still ego-based, just nasty, low vibration. They're too high vibrational. They don't want anything to do with that. So they pushed Earth all the way over here in time out. Learn and get your shit together, and then you can come hang out with us. I'm going to kind of talk to you about alien abductions for a minute, because I think that's where you're kind of coming from. You're listening to TV, you're automatically thinking these things that you're seeing in movies and things like this are true. But it's not, okay? When somebody's being abducted, human term, it's not an abduction. It is an alien race that has come for their own kind to get a download of what they've learned so that they can keep up with what they've learned. Most of these human term abductees will have an itch in their shoulder, and it'll be constantly itchy, or it'll be in their hand, it'll be itchy. That's because the tracking device is in their system, energetically put into their system, to keep track of if they're okay, they're checking their vitals, they're making sure they're okay, following their every move. So when they get abducted, human term, it's not being abducted, it's the family gathering its family member to understand what they've learned and how far they've come with their learning, and seeing, do they need to continue learning here? Is it time for them to come back home? This is what that is, okay? Animal mutilations, there is races out there where they were granted by our government to experiment and understand this realm because they've, let's say, never been here before. Where there's been realms here before where they've helped us build things like the pyramids for galactical astrology reasons, to teach us about astrology and how we can learn from the stars and grow in vibration with the stars. It all goes hand in hand. Stars weren't just thrown in the sky and that's it. There's a reason for it. The reptilians are not bad. The ones that are above ground controlling the government are bad, but not the entire race. It's like saying, oh, well, humans are bad. Not all humans are bad. Now there's humans that are bad. The reptilian race that is hidden underground want their race to get caught and sent back. Angel Gabriel was in charge of taking this race back to their own homelands, but some of them had escaped. And when these reptilian beings started seeing how the other ones were acting, they wanted nothing to do with it. So they went underground because they were themselves getting hunted and killed for speaking up. Let's put it that way. So they're in hiding and they're waiting for Gabriel to come back and retrieve them. And it will come to that day where it happens. And I talk about all this on the harvest videos if you go to Moon Air, The Divine Medium on YouTube, and it's DIVI. It will take us collectively to overthrow a race that has controlled this world since before Egyptian time. I mean, you're talking centuries, guys, and they just keep getting more cunning at what they're doing. I mean, for God's sakes, our celebrities don't even look like our celebrities anymore. Our politicians don't look like our politicians anymore. If you do a side-by-side, they're taking over those roles so that they can do whatever they want because those people weren't listening. So if you're not listening, you're either going to die and we're going to replace you, or you're going to die and we will replace you. Good and love and peace will always outwin anything evil and dark. It just takes time because time here moves a lot slower. Every minute here is 1,000 in heaven and other places like heaven, okay? You guys really like the alien stuff, don't you? I come from a realm called Kalinia. We don't believe in material objects. We work with water and light energy through water, which is probably why I like the beach so much. There's just a presence in the beaches that I can't explain. And a lot of the beaches I've gone to, I know that there's aliens underneath because it's just, there's a different feeling upon water than there is upon land. But my race, we don't, I mean, it might be why I indulge in food. I absolutely love food. Give me anything chocolate, I'm good. I'm such a pig. I don't know why I'm like 300 pounds already. But them two know how much I love food.
No idea.
But yeah, it's pretty bad. As soon as I wake up, I'm like, food? And then Justin, he cracks me up. He's just like, we'll eat, and then like an hour later, I'm like, damn, I'm hungry. And he goes, oh, shocking. Because I'm always hungry. But my realm, we don't eat like humans do here. There's one source of food, and it's like a purple plum color. I think that's why I go to purple all the time in puddings, because it's not super solid. It kind of reminds me of a hardened, what's that metallic sand? The sand that kind of falls apart. What's that thing called again? Kinetic sand. It kind of reminds me of kinetic sand. It's like hardened, but the second you touch it, it starts melting apart. And that's how we eat it. And we only eat it, like if I would put it to earth time, I would say about every 3 months we'd eat it. And it's just enough to give us what we need for our light bodies, because we don't have heavy bodies. So you don't need, heavy bodies need water, food, exercise, this kind of thing to keep it going. Whereas we live in light bodies that are very light, less to take care of. It's like having the perfect haircut. You just wake up and it just does its thing. It's kind of like that. Can't give you times on these things because it is up to humans as a collective to wake up as a collective, to open your eyes and see it. Now, some of you might already be seeing it, but as a collective, it's up to you guys to come together as a collective to see it as a collective. And then it is exposed, or I don't like the word exposed. Exposed to me means, oh, you're doing something bad, let's expose it. Aliens aren't being exposed, but they want to show their presence, but the collective mind has to be accepting of it. They don't want everybody thinking they're after them or they're here to hurt them. And Melinda, it's not about saving the world. You're taking the mentality of like superheroes. Aliens aren't superheroes. They just want to... Okay, the reason we're here, the reason why I'm a walk-in and I'm from Kalinia and I look like you guys. I mean, okay, let me give you an example. There's an episode on Star Trek where time sped up so fast on this planet that they were hovering above. And somehow Star Trek spaceship got stuck in their orbit. They're orbiting. And they kept calling Enterprise the ground shaker because it was caught in their orbiting. It was every so often, the way it was in their orbiting, it would shake the whole globe. And they would get these like mini earthquakes, okay? Now, time was going so fast, but in the spaceship, within its orbit, was like 10 minutes. And let's say 100 years passes within 10 minutes, okay? So they had to send somebody down to the realm, or down to the planet to learn their ways and learn some things about them to try to figure out how they could get out of the orbit, okay? So they couldn't send their own humans because obviously if it's 10 minutes on the spaceship and 100 years passes on the Earth, that human's not going to come back to the spaceship and be able to tell them anything. So they had to get a hologram. So they got their doctor, which is a hologram, and they dressed him and put aesthetics on his face to look like them so that he could blend in and not stand out. So they said to him, we're sending you down there for 5 minutes and we're bringing you back. Well, it ended up, they couldn't get him back for another year, or another year, I think it was like another hour because something was glitching and they were able, so an hour passed and he was down there it was a long time, okay? So he comes back and he's so excited to see them and they're just like, it's only been an hour. So so he tells them all this stuff and they finally get into, because they went from like the caveman years to all the way to spaceships. Like, can you imagine one of our newly spaceships? We've never been into space, and our new spaceship goes up and they interact with what they think is an alien race, but it's just humans in a spaceship, just kind of like them, okay? So they go into the spaceship. Everybody's in frozen time. And they didn't know that, they couldn't understand why is everybody frozen? It's like everybody's going along in their day in their frozen time. So then one of the astronauts from that realm gets sick, and all of a sudden they're in their time now. And Captain Janeway goes, "Who's that?" And they suddenly see these 2 astronauts appear on the deck because they came into their time, okay? So they start the astronauts are like, what do you guys are just people on a spaceship like us. And they're like, yes, we just got stuck in your orbit. So they're trying to explain all this. And as they're explaining all this, all of a sudden the planet went like 10 years while they were on the spaceship for that 2 minutes or whatever. And now they're shooting these, I don't know, bombs at the spaceship to get it out of the orbit, and and Captain Janeway's like, you have to tell them to stop doing that. We're all going to get destroyed. So the one female, she died. She couldn't stay in their timeline. So they ended up giving him some kind of watch. I'm skipping ahead. So it was a Chinese guy. So he, their version of Chinese. So he goes back down and he's trying to get somebody on the radio and he's telling them to stop, and he knows who the people are and he needs to get with the council to talk about it. And they were like, he says his name and the lady on the radio is like, stop pranking this line. That person died over 10 years ago or over 20 years ago. He's no longer in existence. He's like, I am alive. I'm in my space. So he arrives, tells him everything. He comes back to the ship. He's got some time watch that is able to keep him in his time and their time. So he doesn't age or whatever. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Yes. Because in their timeline, the reason that girl died was because her organs were aging so fast that she ended up dying because she wasn't in her time anymore from the planet. Okay, do you see how this kind of works? It's not about rescuing. It's about observing humanity, watching it progress, and when they're ready, they introduce themselves, they invite themselves, and they say, hi, we're this alien race, we've been here this long and you guys finally see us, so welcome to the rest of the universe. We're all here. But yeah, that's the episode I wanted to kind of point out to you guys, that this is how time works. There's some realms that just move really, really fast, whereas our time is really, really slow. Guys, remember, you're in an assimilation of learning. None of this is real. And when you die, it's kind of like you were playing a video game. It says game over and you died. And then you get rebooted back into the system and now you're on your second life. Yes, I would know if you were part of any race. That's through the Akashic session where I go into your soul book, which is like ginormous. And it has all of your lives and everything you learned and what you're doing now and why you're doing it now. So your life book, I have a special spot in the Akashic section area of that realm, which is in heaven. I'm transmuted there. And I ask for your book. I'm just going to put it short. There's a long stair, handcrafted pebble stones that goes down, and there's these two really big antique lights on the sides. And these big wooden doors, and I open them, I go down the steps, I turn to the left, and there's a big counter, hand-carved cherry wood counter with opal marble and all this stuff. It's really cool. There's crystals everywhere. And I ask the angel that's in charge of that realm of protection, because he protects all the books, because not just anybody can get in there. You have to have clearance, basically, to get in there. You have to have the gift of sight and understanding of communication with spirit. So I pass along who I want, when their birth astrology chart was created, and so on and so forth. And I'm handed their book. Everybody's book has a different color, has a different frequency and energy. Like, I can just touch one of the books and I'll know if that soul had a lot of tragedy, or if that soul had a lot of learning. Maybe that soul hasn't grown up just yet. Like, I'll be able to tell if it's more childlike as opposed to wismic. And then I turn back to the steps, which is now behind me, and I go straight. And another angel lets me into my area, and the scenery changes. I'm kind of no longer in a library. I'm kind of like in an enclosed porch, and the beach is behind me. I can hear it. It's very calming. There's very calming, high frequency, angelic music playing. There's crystals everywhere. I have sage going. So it's more like I took this realm and made it my own. And I open your book and I spend hours upon hours upon hours looking through your book to see what I need to write down or what I need. So I'll take notes, and then I put together between a 36 to 39 page PDF of everything you. So that's the Akashic, and you can actually find that on the website moonair.com. And you can pick the package you want. So if you want the package with past lives, then I would hone in on the past lives that took effect on your soul, that meant a lot to your soul, and now still affect your soul now. Okay. I love my Akashic reading from Moon. It is very insightful and resonates with every fiber of my being. Thank you, Kimberly. That's very sweet of you. We just had 3 purchases in 2 days with the Akashic, so I was, my team put them in my book. Now, keep in mind, these Akashics do take between 2 and 3 weeks. If you get the full package, which is everything, it could be close to a month, just depending on what I have to do with it. But we give you like a designated date. I could be sending it to you way before that date, or I could be sending it to you that day. Okay? Want to pick?
Yeah.
Oh, you picked 2. Okay, let's see what they are. You have to be completely able to communicate and understand what you're communicating, and you're not hurting anyone. So you have to know what you're doing. Not just anybody can go in there and willy-nilly start picking stuff. I've been thinking about teaching it, but then I'm kind of like, yeah, I don't think it's a good idea because I don't want anybody's lives getting messed up, and you really have to know what you're doing so you're not getting karmatic energy from what you're doing with it. So it might take a lot for me to do that. Pull inspirational match for the day, because if I'm teaching it, that goes back onto me if you mess somebody's life up, and I don't want that karma. So, all right, I'm gonna pull an inspirational match, and it says, aim to go an entire day without saying anything negative. And I'm gonna kick it up a notch. If you say something negative, you have to keep track of how many times you say something negative, and then give yourself a quarter and put the quarter in the jar, or a penny, okay? So that's the inspirational quote for today. And you guys should try that. It really does help you, because to be honest, guys, I've been working on the negativity as well, because, you know, I've been through a lot. Yvonne's been going through a lot. You know, we all go through a lot of stuff, so we kind of have to watch what we say, because when we say it to other people, when we vent to other people, we're actually placing our negative energy onto that person when we don't even need, you know, when we don't know that we're even doing it. It's the same thing with thinking it, because you're almost kind of giving yourself leeway to become negative. Like you're giving yourself an excuse to become negative. And then that negativity gets twisted and turned into anger. Okay? So it is something to work on. Connect to a spirit animal for audience member. You guys will have to bear with me with this one, but we will pick somebody. Did one of you guys lose an animal? I have what looks like a white dog with this kind of color fur. It's like a red burnt color, like auburn, I guess, but it's spotted. It's spotted, and there's black spots as well. I feel like it's a male, or it's a female that acts male, because I'm getting this tomboy effect. I keep getting 2 different colored eyes. And the one you can't stop staring at, it's just so light. In color, you're just like, oh, it's so pretty. I feel this dog was getting sick. there's two of them that are identical. Or he's standing, like when he crossed over, he found one of his siblings that he was close to. Because I'm getting two of them. There's two of them that almost look the same. Katie, or Mia, you gotta stop, honey. Bridget, Nikki and Anna, are they identical twins? And they both passed? Real quick, the dogs I'm getting, they have like long furry, like not super long, it's like that soft fur. The ears go up. Yeah, and there's whites in the fur, and there's these two colors as well on the fur, but it's spotty. Yeah, I'm definitely getting two. Mm-hmm. Mia, come here a minute. Over here. Okay, so I want to show you something. If I said, hey, can you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, what if I said, hey? Did you hear
Yeah.
that? Stop it! I'm trying to show you something.
What?
Okay.
Okay.
If I sit here and I just go, can you hear that?
No.
Okay. Now if I said, hey, can you hear that?
No. Totally not.
Okay. So I want to show you something. When you do, like, if I'm communicating and you do that, it comes off, hey, to me on the other side. Do you get it?
No. I don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
So
all being enhanced.
yeah, it gets enhanced. So when you're over here doing this, it's magnified off a wall, and I can hear it threefold. That's why I was like, Mia, can you stop that? Who was that? Bridget. Were they both sick? And do you remember them having like soft hair? It was real soft and like thick hair, and like you could comb it with a brush. It's not short hair. It's like somewhat long, but like not long, crazy long. Okay, like in between long. I love you so much. Are you making me more earrings?
I need these ones.
Let me see.
But you can't have them.
Why can't I have them?
Because I'm putting them on my thing.
No.
Ah.
Ooh.
I love those ones.
Okay, I'll take these. Thanks.
No.
Look, she makes these. Aren't those cute? I hear a cow.
You can drop
Okay. Yeah, I'm getting more shepherdy. Yeah, okay, so I'm thinking these are yours, Bridget, and these are your dogs. No, Maxie's very short hair. Very, very short hair. This is longer. No, it's longer. I'm getting more like a shepherd. Okay, so that's the sickness I kept getting. Okay. Was it very shortly between each other? Like, it wasn't not too long in between their deaths? I'm getting like very short in between. Like they didn't have, the one didn't have to wait too long for the other one to arrive, is basically what I'm getting. Little over an hour between. Okay, so I was right. So it is then. Okay. Bridget, do you want to ask them anything? Yeah, it wasn't too long because I'm getting the ones like excited to see the other one, and I know it was not very long in between. For the one to see the other one, and I keep getting like heart issues. So I don't know if there was a cardiac arrest or something with the heart failure with one of them, but there's a lot of pain in the chest and heart and lungs area. Okay, Bridget, can I ask you a question? So like, let's say this is your bed. Did it feel like at first like your bed got bumped and then you felt like something jumped? Because I feel like one of them like bumped into the bed and almost like your bed shifted and then they jumped. I'm getting more of a cardiac arrest. So if you're unsure why she was having a hard time, I'm getting a cardiac arrest, like the heart was giving out. So it was going into cardiac arrest and she was having trouble breathing. Yes, bumped and jumped. So I don't like saying, yes, that was them. I want more from them. I always hold spirit to a higher standard because I want them to give me more than just yes or no. And what they showed me was a bump and jump. Like one of them slammed into the bed and it's almost like the bed shifted and then they jumped. So yeah, that was them. One just seems like clumsy. Like they were always bumping into stuff. Like that's what I keep getting from the one. I'm thinking it might be Anna. She kept bumping into stuff. Like clumsy, falling all over herself kind of thing. Goofy. You don't have to go now.
No, I'll just turn the lights on.
Oh, I was hoping for a candle. Mama.
It's much brighter, but
I like candles. Nikki was the silly dog. Okay. Okay. I don't know why I kept thinking it was Anna, but they are very much alike. But, okay. Well, Bridget, keep looking for their jumpies on your beds. All right. Thank you. I like it. It's good. On Mia, you want to pick one?
Yeah.
Okay, you gotta come over here so everybody can see. I don't know, Maria just wanted Mia to pick one, I guess, this time. She put stuff in my mouth. I went to say Yvonne, and she said it made me say Mia.
That one.
Okay.
Can I stand here?
Yes, you can stand here. Discuss a past life. Oh boy. Well, let's see. Does somebody want to know a past life? Okay, so Jody Sheets. Wait, what?
The video came back up.
I want to see where Maria takes me. Okay, Karen. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're the one that won the $25 gift card for the month. Because I remember seeing Karen, and that's a yes. So that was you. One of your past lives was a star. You were a galactic star in the Mars constellation, which wouldn't surprise me if you go towards colors like reds, orange, and purple. Okay. You preferred the moon energy, so you tried to pull from moon receptivity and higher vision through healing and understanding healing, not in the sense of healing, like healing bodies here on earth, but in the sense of healing a world that's in chaotic motion. And Mars was at the time where you were part of that. You had a masculine energy, which would make sense why you went towards Mars, because Mars was all men, all masculine. They let their own technology destroy them, sadly. And Earth was on the same pathway. Hopefully we won't continue on that path, but yeah, you were a star constellation energy that merged with a solar system of Mars, and you just really were drawn to the energies of the moon and how it correlated with the planet itself. Like you were trying to understand how that all worked. So that was one of your lives. It's not always human lives that you're gonna get. So yeah, that's a first for me. So I'm glad Maria was able to let me see that. You cannot be an angel. Angels do not have souls in the sense of how God made Adam and Eve. Well, there's a whole story, backstory with that. But anyway, they don't have a soul in the sense of how God created us. They're a different race, and their whole being is protection and relaying messages back and forth. They are basically the deliverers of the mailroom of heaven. They just run back and forth. So there's messengers, and then there's protective warriors. But no, angels do not come to earth because they don't, their job isn't to learn like a soul learns. They are to protect us, give us messages, and that's their job. Mia, do you want to pick another?
Yeah. Hey, peeps.
She's part of the TikTok generation, ladies and gentlemen. Marie or Jody said, I have a 5-point star on my wrist, and I have been always drawn and see stars everywhere. I am somewhat a tomboy. I was never into dresses, and I feel I can do anything a man can do.
All was on point. Thank you, man.
Let's see. LOL, all was on point. Thank you, man. Oh, I thought you said thank you, Mia. I was like,
No, I said thank you, man.
good job, Mia. Explain a Bible verse. Guys, remember, please don't dictate the live feed. We're trying to follow Maria in what she wants to talk about or have me talk about. So, okay. So if you want a reading and we're not, like, I didn't get to you tonight, you can always go to the website moonair.com and get one done, where you have me one-on-one and it's not a group session like this. Okay, is there a Bible verse that you guys wanted me to go over? I know there was some before that wanted me to go over one so you can better understand it. So is there a Bible verse that you guys want me to go over so you can better understand it?
Yeah. It is
So nice.
I know. It's relaxing.
You too, Deb. Have a good night. Thanks for being here. Let everyone know about the A word. Let me ask Maria if it's, well, I guess we're doing the Bible, so yeah, it would be interesting to talk about. But the A word is a being that controls hidden treasures and secrets. So when the Catholic Council decided to bring this being into their churches and place it into their prayer system, they thought that they would be able to do a lot of cover-up and get extra protection from demonic realms. They felt the demonic realms had more power, and they showed this by simply placing this demonic being into their prayers. So when you end a prayer with the A word, which I'm not going to say and push his name out with intent, we're not going to say his name. What you want to do is replace that with in Jesus's name, because you're giving the prayer to Jesus to do what he needs to do with it. And when you end it with the A word, you're giving it to this demonic being to do what he wants to do with it. Which is why the Catholic Church was able to cover up what they've been doing for so many centuries. Because they were able to have this demonic being take control and power, but they did a lot of sacrificing to have that happen. Okay, Deuteronomy. And there's actually a whole blog on it if you go to moonair.com, EIR.com. in the blogs. It's there. I write about all of it in the blog, so you can actually go and read that. Okay. Deuteronomy 22. That's so funny. I say that number everywhere. Okay, 22, 28 to 29. If a man happens to meet a virgin who is not pledged to be married and rapes her and they are discovered, he shall pay the girl's father 50 shekels of silver. He must marry the girl, for he has violated her. He can never divorce her as long as he lives. Okay, what is your question with that? That's pretty self-explanatory, Tiffany. So let me know what exactly you need to know with that verse, or what's confusing to you. Mark 5. My name is Legion, he replied, for we are many. And he begged Jesus again and again not to send them out of the area. That's pretty self-explanatory as well, guys, because Legion is a dark entity. And they come as many. It's a group of beings. Okay, you're wondering where they're at now. Maria said it is a place you cannot see nor will ever go to. So she feels it's not important for you to know where they're at. And even if she did explain it, you wouldn't understand it. And she's not saying, okay, she's correcting me. She's not saying that to say you're stupid. It's just at the capacity of your human understanding, you will never understand where they're at. Look how purple, you have to see this. Look how purple and pink the sky is. No, in my phone. This is insane. Looks like a painting.
Oh my gosh, it does.
Look at that.
Oh my god,
Yeah, the
that's
purple
weird.
like
Isn't that
it's
beautiful?
at the horizon, and there's no purple if you're looking
now
at the
there's-
sky. Aw, yeah, that's pretty.
No, Kimberly, these were actual entities. It's not like a hive mind of negative beings. No, these are actual dark entities.
I don't want them to fall in your candle.
Next one. Maria's message to the audience. Katie likes that when she's clapping. That's so funny. Okay. She comes in the intent of the Queen of Cups. And the Queen of Cups comes as the hierarchy of emotion. Because cups hold water, and water comes with motion. Which is why probably most of you get most of your amazing ideas and communication with your guides in water. Tara, you can either start with the soul session or the Akashic. A lot of people like the soul session, but they also like the Akashic. So both sessions have to do everything with you. So if you want to learn more about you, those are the two sessions you want to start with. Spirit session is just communicating with your loved ones. So where purples go, fairies glow. Okay, so she comes to us as the Queen of Cups, and the Queen is not necessarily the completion end all of everything. It is more along the lines of being stern in your emotions, but being bendable and understanding. So, you know, be firm with your convictions, but also understand where everyone else is coming from. And she says this because she comes with the Queen of Cups, because strength is the strongest form of this. Strength of emotion and being strong, especially when having to deal with other people. Especially when it comes to you having to explain why you like crystals, or explaining to your family why you like incense. It's funny, I just did a reading for a female, and she was starting a business, and she was too afraid to go out in public with what she did, because she thought she would be labeled a witch. And I thought that was kind of sad, because we are not in those times anymore where people are burning witches. We're in probably one of the best times to be yourself, because people aren't, I mean, unless you keep people around you that judge you, then you're gonna have a problem. It's almost like you're being burned every day by them on the stake, the more you keep them in your life. So if you can't even be yourself to start your own business, to make your own money, because you're the one paying your own bills, they're not paying it, so why the hell should you care what they think? That's your bills. So if this is something you want to pursue, you should be going after it. I had one lady come into the shop, and she said, you know, her family's probably going to think she's nuts. She's buying all these crystals and incense and sages and stuff. So what? I mean, eventually they're going to come around. Maybe they might start liking how the house smells. And maybe the incense and the sages start making them feel better about themselves. Maybe you're doing them a favor by bringing this stuff around them, because now they can elevate along with you. If you keep letting fear dictate what you do and how you do it, you're not going to get anywhere in life and be who you truly want to be, because you're stuck in third dimension. Well, they're stuck in third dimension. You're stuck in fourth dimension, where you want to learn all this stuff, but you can't move forward because the third dimensional people are keeping you there. So stop worrying about what other people think, because those people are going to start, you're going to start seeing that they don't resonate with you anymore, and they're going to start falling to the wayside. And then all of a sudden you see all these other people coming into your life that resonate with you, because not everyone's meant to stay there, especially if they're not going to progress and learn from what you're doing or resonate with what you're doing. They're going to be pushed to the side, and new ones are going to start coming into your life that you do have fun with, who you do resonate with. Okay. She also comes as the fourth stability and foundation of pentacles. This comes from money. Okay, so she's talking about emotion with money and having strength with abundance. And this is one of the things that I'm going to be talking about on the 8th for the Lionsgate event, is you're going to, what we're starting to see with the fourth dimension is that people that were rich and full of abundance are now suddenly finding themselves lacking in those concepts. They're lacking money, they're lacking abundance, and they're starting to lose that part of themselves, because the fourth dimension is all about extremes of both sides of learning. So if you were rich, you're going to start to suddenly see you're poor. If you were a happy person, you're going to start to see that you're depressed. And that's the whole point of the fourth dimension. But we'll go more into depth with that on the 8th, okay? So she's telling you to have more strength within your money, and understand where everyone else around you comes from with money. Like, where is everybody else in your family with money? And you can grow with stability with money, but don't put all your emotions into it, is basically what she's saying. She's saying to balance this out and make it, don't make it about yourself. So, like, let's say, for example, you gain a lot of money. She's saying to balance it out through strength and give somebody else strength with money by giving to a charity or giving to someone that is needing that part of their life, okay? Okay. If you're stuck in your life with money instability, Maria's message is, they always say that time changes things, but you actually have to change them yourself. So if you're lacking in money, you're going to have to take the steps forward to change gaining money. just sitting around your house isn't going to do anything for you. It's not going to bring money to you, okay? Like miraculously. All right, so you have to start making motions and making movements in your life to bring that money to you. And you're the only person that can do that because you're the one learning from it. We all get the same, we all get the exact same 365 days. The only difference is what we do with them. And she's right. So when she said about making movement and, you know, the only person that can change these things is you, the only difference is what you do with that time and with if you're going to sit around or if you're going to try to make a difference. Can you move that chair closer? That's good. Yeah, that's good.
That's right.
It's him. The angel Uriel is here. He shows a lot of gold with him in his wings, the color that comes off of him. He really likes animals. He just started petting the dog. Obviously he doesn't know he's there, but oh, maybe he does. He's opening questions to himself, but again, he comes back to understanding that he doesn't give guidance, but if there's something you would like to know, let me know if there's questions, because I'm going to keep talking to him. Just run him off to me. He's playing with him. Do you see him playing with him? Okay, let me explain something. He's sitting in front of me, but he's also over here playing.
Right, you give me more advice.
Yeah. I've never seen Maxie move around like that. There's two other angels, but they don't care to speak. They came in with him, but this is the first I've sat down with an angel. They don't normally sit, and he's brought his stature down, because normally they're about 13 feet high, 14 feet, sometimes they're 15. But he's brought himself down to about 6 inches, or 6 feet. Is there any questions? None yet? Okay.
Personal question.
Yeah, guys, we're going to keep it to him, and any questions you want to know about him. He took Earth as a globe. You know our crystal balls at the shop.
Yes.
He took it looked like a clear quartz globe, but Earth was projecting in it, so it was like a glassy form of Earth, and he shattered it like in his palm. And he's explaining how This world has to crumble and shatter beneath its own resonance.
Someone asked, what help does he offer?
Protection and messages. He's more of a messenger, which is why he's here. He's giving us a message about Earth. Like I said, he takes a clear quartz sphere globe and he projects Earth within inside of it. And he said, when he shatters it, he said the many realms will shatter. So I'm taking this and understanding that our Earth is not the only one being shattered. It will be like a domino effect of all the Earths that are in our kind of resonance level of frequency that will all shatter. Now, when he explains shattering, it means a breaking down and shattering of a system underneath its own feet, where once was grounding, falling will happen. So it's almost like when you fall out of a tree, you expect your feet to hit the ground, but this time there won't be any ground to fall upon. And he's not saying it in a sense that Earth will be destroyed. He's just saying you will not have anything to step upon because it all must crumble and shatter for one to find their footing, find their grounding.
Okay, what does Angel Muriel usually watch over? Like what chakra, or over children, or over animals?
I'm getting more animals with him. He was very drawn to Max. He was very drawn to Max. He believes the children here are getting lost because the adults are lost. So there's no guidance, there's no appropriate learning. He said it's like the sleeping or leading the sleeping, or you get a third wave child that is more knowing than an adult who's sleeping, and it's like an adult guiding a child that's sleeping. So the child is the adult's the child. Do you kind of get what I'm saying there? Okay.
Yeah, totally.
And he said that this isn't the way it should be.
Yeah. Does Uriel
Help animals
Yeah.
cross into the light when they pass.
I am one of many that protects the leeway, basically a portal, between your realm and our realm. I don't guide them or lead them. My energy protects the leeway between both worlds, between actually many worlds. So he kind of shows me this spider web effect where when one portal opens, simultaneously in other dimensionals open. So, okay, think of a canal of water. Say you don't want the water to go to the right, it gets like something like comes slamming down, it stops the water, and the water goes straight or it goes left.
Right.
So that's what they do. It's kind of like a canal of energy, and he shuts down the energy from going anywhere else except that one leeway, so that they know where the right place that they're going to. Once they enter the threshold of that area, then their guides and loved ones that they're familiar with will guide them and lead them the rest of the way, only because if they don't recognize who's there, they'll step back from the threshold and overanalyze the direction. And that's when you get a soul that's crossed, or an animal that's crossed, but still kind of lingering, which doesn't happen too often. And it's not so much that they didn't cross, because when you die and that's all you can do is cross. But it's almost like they'll overthink and not cross the threshold of the knowing. So they prevent themselves from knowing the knowing. Does that make sense? They prevent themselves from the knowing. So once they cross the threshold, then they're in the knowing, and then they know what to do next. So it's kind of like a dog lost in the woods, and then, you know, they don't recognize the energy, but they don't see an angel. It's just the energy doesn't feel familiar. So there has to be guides and loved ones. Now, at first they won't recognize the guide, because they won't remember that the guide or guides stood with them when they made the contract for coming here. Until they cross the threshold and they go forward, then this knowing comes over them like, oh, I know you. You helped me with such and such. It's kind of like when you come in contact with somebody you haven't seen in a while and their face changes and you're just like, I know them, but why do I know them? And then it dawns on you, oh my God, we went to high school together. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right.
It's the same effect. Now the loved ones are automatic. They just know. Is there any more questions?
There are kind of questions. Yeah, someone did ask to see our message.
Remember, guys, this is Uriel coming to you, wanting to get to know you. This isn't, you guys have to pull your egos out of your mind. This isn't about, see, that's the problem that I see nowadays. Everything's me, 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 me. When you have spiritual teams on the other side that want you to know who they are so that you know how to call on them. So if you know Uriel works with animals, and you know, and you get to know his energy and you understand what a kind of being he is, then you know how to call on him. If you're just about me, 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 you're not going to see anything else. And I think that's why energy doesn't flow for a lot of you. To me, it's really sad to watch. And I see it way too often. Do you like him? You're looking right at him, you big goof. Did you see that?
Yes, I did.
He's like, who are you? He looks right at him. So if you want to get to know Uriel better, now is the time to ask him questions. I mean, you guys ask me all the time, tell me more about angels. Well, here it is. Now's the time to ask.
Someone said, can we meet you easier or communicate with you easier when we are in nature with the animals?
He's laughing. He says, why do you pick one station of communication when I come at an instant, anywhere and everywhere? My communication is instant, faster than your speed of seconds. I come before your thoughts even complete. I know what you're going to ask before you ask it. I'm there before you even know. Is there any more?
Does he help lost animals get home?
If it so is stated within their contract to be found. I can assist in those circumstances if it's allowed. And the parameters of that question and intent of wanting is permitted.
Should should we call upon a specific angel or just ask for angel guidance?
Every angel has a specific talent, skill, gift, and unique energy. So okay. Okay, just like the jobs you have here on Earth, you wouldn't go to Foot Lockers to get knee surgery. He's right. So, yes, it depends on who you're calling upon. So, Michael for protection, Uriel for, he's of gold vibration, which is pretty high vibration. So, gold is your upper chakras, so it's not your normal 7 chakras, it's going to be above those.
Does he have a specific scent?
No. Like, are you talking in the physical sense,
They
like
asked-
coming around?
Yes. Yeah, they asked what color. We said gold.
Well, he's gold, yeah, with speckles of white in it, but scent. If you're asking to be shown when he's around through scent, which he doesn't have a scent, but if you're asking to be shown a scent, he said it's between frankincense and myrrh. If you would mix the two together. I don't know what that would smell like. I would think that would be musky. We'll have to test that out, by the way. Write that down. We'll have to test frankincense and myrrh out. Do you have frankincense and myrrh here?
Yes, oils I do.
Can you bring them?
Right now?
Yeah, I just want to smell them. I'm wondering if it's musky.
Is there really a rainbow bridge that our animals wait for us?
He does it. It's like, okay, it's kind of like when you tell a kid that there's no Santa Claus. No. What is happening is the portal or the area where animals cross has multitude of colors. It kind of looks like wet icicles that have like that iridescent opal color, but with the different colors. So when you're walking through that energy, okay, do you ever see Thor? You know that bridge that they walk across it, like glowy and stuff? It's like that, but in a sense of a energy that's around you. It's not thick, it's not thin, it's just there. And that's where they go through. It's not so much that they're waiting there. Like, they cross it, or they go through it, I should say. It's not about crossing, but they go through it to get to the transportation of where they're to go next. It's kind of like going to an airport and you go through the, you go this way to go to 671 to 890. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like that.
I
So,
don't have myrrh.
oh man,
I just have the frankincense. Doesn't work.
yeah, it's like a musky. Yeah, Yeah.
Myrrh.
it's like a musky. We'll have to mix the two and see. That's like an earthy musky. Like if you were out like where pine and stuff is, that's where I'd probably smell that. Is there another question?
Do you have a certain area you work at most in heaven?
Kobe, here. Here, Kobe, come here.
He's laughing because people, souls here tend to organize and categorize and contain things where okay, energy's heaven. So if you would think of heaven as air that you breathe, and you breathe air everywhere.
Right.
Heaven is everywhere. So there's no particular area that he dwells because heaven is everywhere, so he is everywhere. I'm really trying here,
Well, that makes
guys.
sense.
I'm really
I know.
trying.
Actually, it makes total sense.
Because heaven isn't a place, it's an energy. And it's like breathing air, it's everywhere.
Right, and he's one of many that protects the leeway between
Well,
our realm and
right, but he's also a
said.
messenger, so he has multitudes of things. So, like I said, remember how he was sitting in front of me, but he was also in the yard playing with
Right.
Maxie. So he can be helping animals cross the threshold, or he could be doing that, and he could be, I don't know, in the Hall of Knowledge helping a soul understand a life lesson. You know, I mean, they don't guide, but let's say, for example, that soul crosses over with amnesia. Not amnesia, Alzheimer's. Because souls that have Alzheimer's, their mind goes to a different dimension. That's why when they come back, they can't remember things. Because they were in a different time and place for a long period of time. I mean, years and centuries could have passed by the time they came back. So when they cross over, they still are kind of fuzzy. So they go through, I'm going to sum it up in human form, a type of healing sauna, removal of trauma, to bring them back to a mind frame that is in their understanding. Because, see, you can't bring them back to totality, because you have to take them back to their last understanding of learning. So let's say, for example, that soul didn't get to 7th grade in their learning, so you wouldn't take them to college learning of totality. So you have to bring them back to 6th grade to their learning, and then they'll decide where they want to go from there. That's the best way I can describe it.
That is self-explanatory.
Any other questions?
Uh,
Just shoot them off.
Several are asking what is going on with the birds.
That's not something he covers. That's a guide question.
What are some things we should mainly call on him for his help?
Go back to the birds. What was the question again?
What's going on with the birds?
When you have different times, and not in the sense of a clock, but dimensional time, continuums going on in one area, birds are navigating compasses and they don't understand what's going on. So they think they're in one reality, so they do one thing. They go to another reality and they do another. Do you see?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, back to him. What was the question?
How can we help them? Is there something we should be doing besides raising our vibration?
Give it to me again. He was talking.
How can we help them? Is there something we should be doing besides raising our vibration?
Help who?
The birds?
Well, there's no helping the birds.
No, that's the only thing I can think of. What they meant by that.
No, once everybody's on the same collective, that'll stop.
Does he only come around if you call on him?
No. He's assigned to most souls here. Well, not most. He's correcting me. Quite a few he's assigned to. so he goes to his assignments and works with their energy when they need it.
Does he have a favorite place or a place he feels most comfortable?
Again, categorizing. He's laughing. My place is everywhere, and everywhere is comfortable. They're not thinking in the sense of a higher being. They're thinking more human. Whereas we like to be in our beds, cozy, comfy, or on the couch, cozy, company. Higher beings don't think in this sense.
Is something big coming in the next few months that will cause a ton of chaos?
He can't answer that. Maria will help. Give me the question again.
Is something big coming in the next few months that will cause a ton of chaos?
Many things have been coming that have created chaos. Are you not surprised yet? She's asking back. What will it take for you to awaken and be aware that nothing should be a surprise at this point? Your world is changing. Adjust and balance to the changes as they come.
Will he help us during the money system breakdown?
That's not his job. Money abundance is more guides guiding in those topics of understanding. Angels do not protect in those senses unless your money is to do something to help others. So, for example, you have a nonprofit organization that helps, and he just used animals again because that's what he goes to. A nonprofit organization that is to help animals thrive and feel benefit from being on Earth. A protection will be over that money, so it's not stolen, it's not taken, it's not drained in any form or fashion. So it's governed with a stake of claim by energy, spirit, angel protection, if you understand what that means. Under the armor of protection. Wherever the money's being benefited to help lives, it will be protected. But in general, no. It's more guiding you in the direction of using your money better. Only if you listen, Maria said. Some people just don't listen.
There's no more questions.
Okay.
Oh, one more. Since Angel Uriel is of the same energy as God, or is he of an energy of God's?
No. No one... Oh, okay, Maria's correcting me. The energy of God... That is really hard to explain. You were made in his image, energy. So you are of God, you are like God. You can do things like God. In this realm, you keep yourself from obtaining what you can do as God. Jesus came here to show you how to do that, but nobody has, consecrated their lives to understanding how he got to that point. I mean, what person has ever, well, you see this a lot in India, you could see it a lot in the native traditions where they consecrate their lives on understanding just completely energy, which is what every collective being here on Earth should be attaining to, is understanding the higher frequencies and what you're able to do with them. If you want to fly, you can do that, but you have to get to the dimensional plane that allows you to do that. So if it's your goal of learning, then you will do whatever you can to start out in the mailroom, the lower frequency, and working your way up to the CEO office, which is fine. But you won't be in this dimension any longer when you obtain that. That's where the Mayans come in, and they went and disappeared. They consecrated their learning, their understanding, to the point where they were able to raise it to the point of slipping into that dimension, because they accomplished that test and overcame that grade. So they were in 5th grade, they worked their way, and they slipped into 6th and no longer existed within this dimension because they obtained that understanding. Now, in their understanding, they still think they're in this realm, but it's been altered. And that's what's happening now to most of you. You think you're in the same realm, but you actually slipped into a different dimension because now things have been changing and altering, and you're seeing things differently. You're noticing things that you didn't notice before. You're no longer in the original dimension you were originally at. Things change, you slipped into another dimension.
What is God's real name? What does he want us to call him here on earth?
Again, categorizing and containing into a container what you want to understand. God is just I am. He is just is. There is no name. He is. When you get to the understanding of understanding God, the second you understand him, you'll know that there's no identity attachment. That's an earthly thing where you have to categorize and identify so your brain can understand what's happening. These higher realms and God do not work in this sense. There's no categorizing, there's no identifying, there's no identity. It just is.
Is he known as the angel of wisdom?
No, unless you're talking about animals. That made me laugh.
They say thank you.
Maybe that's why he keeps wanting to hand me a star. It's like stardust in his hand. He wants to pour it into mine. That's cool. That was cool. I've never really held a star like that. That's crazy. That's some powerful stuff. In the physical sense, it's so weird because you don't technically can put a star in your hand like that. In the physical sense of a human. That's so weird. That was a weird sensation. Maria's bringing up the scratching of the hands and feet. We talked about it. She's using his metaphor, the stars in the hands. You hold everything in your hand. The reason why your hands are itching is you're obtaining, and it's usually the itching is right around the thumb area here.
Right here. Yep.
Yeah. She talks about the energy flowing through there. So when your palms itch in this sense, your guides are trying to place, oh my God, this is so crazy. Matter. You come from matter. They're giving you matter. So if you come from spiritual matter, they're giving you physical matter. So you're going to start seeing abundance flowing in your life because they're giving it to you. And it could be both hands, it could be one, but it's mainly right in the thumb area here where it's itchy. And it's just right to the bone. You can't get rid of it. So what she's suggesting is taking a gold stone or a crystal that has red or orange to it and just palming it, and you'll start to see the itch just stops after about 2-3 minutes. Or you can just go like this and it'll just stop. It's grounding. You're basically, what you're doing is they're placing the energy in your hand. You start feeling the itch, you put the crystal there, and you're saying, I accept it, thank you. Please ground it into my complete soul being because I want that and I'm accepting it. What time is it?
9:46.
Should we end? Is that it? Okay, guys. I'm pretty wiped out after hanging out with him. So I think we'll end it for tonight, and I'm grateful everybody was able to join. I had a lot of fun, so thank you. And I will see you guys on the next Spirit Mysteries with Moon and Maria. And again, guys, the 2 new perfumes, White Lion and Ecliptical Goddess, will be up on the website tomorrow, as well as the Black Tourmaline and Amethyst bracelets. So get a good night's rest. It's almost 10. You guys probably have work tomorrow. Do a little meditation before bed. Call in Uriel to kind of hang out with you in your dreams so you can get to know him better. And I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you for attending, and have a good night.